Welcome back to Simply Green Radio, brought to you by Simply Green Energy and Mr. Rooter Plumbing here on News Radio 1180 WHAM. Brendan Owen in studio with you on this Sunday evening, in studio with Maurice Aubry, also Pete Marisi, True Story Pete, and Brenna Hartman. And our guest in our second segment tonight, Jeff Lussier. Jeff is from Delta Faucets, but before I say Delta Faucets, Jeff also represents some other product lines, and we'll get into that in just a moment. But Jeff, pleasure to have you here in studio. And guys, I will let you kind of take it away, because the topic of our show tonight here is water conservation.
Absolutely. Welcome in, Jeff.
Thanks.
Nice
Thanks
to
for
have
having
you.
me.
Yeah, you're welcome. I understand that there's some very interesting things to talk about, and I know that Brennan wanted to also mention a few things, and she's always got these little nifty facts and trivia, or not trivia, but, facts. So.
And before Brenna speaks, we want to remind folks that they can join the conversation, 222-1180, again, that number 222-1180, and before the end of the show, we will be giving away a deluxe shower head, so you want to tune in to learn how you can hopefully receive that.
And the reason we're going to give that away is because it is a WaterSense product. Thank you, Jeff, for bringing that in for us today and sharing it with our listeners, because it's one more way that we can work to conserve and save energy. I talked a little bit about, in the last segment, I thought it interested you about the savings between water and energy.
Right.
People don't often connect the two.
Right.
They think that they're just wasting water or just wasting energy, but they're actually both connected. For example, letting your faucet run for 5 minutes uses about as much energy as letting a 60-watt light bulb run for, do you want to take a guess? Or
Run for, well, you already told me, so I should have just said 14, because I know that's the answer.
14 hours. I mean, think about that. 5 minutes of water.
I shaved today and had the faucet running for 5 minutes.
And here's a perfect example of doing that. How often do you go to the tap, turn it on to try and get a glass of cold water?
Right.
And simple things we can do, like fill up a pitcher and put it in the refrigerator and get your cold water there.
Sure.
Oh, geez, we're not going there. Oh, we already had this conversation. We're not going there. But the other very important thing is heating water.
Okay.
Which is another energy cost, of course, as well. So using WaterSense products, which Jeff is going to come right in and tell us about what's changing in the industry for plumbing fixtures, is a great way to start conserving around the home, and ultimately it's going to save you money and, of course, affect the environment.
And Jeff, let's welcome you in. Now, I said Delta Faucets, but you represent other product lines as well.
Sure. Locally, we represent Liberty Pumps, we represent Mansfield, and we represent Incinerator and some other product lines. But those are just a few of the major lines that we represent. One of the things when Brenna had talked to me about coming on the show was we were trying to see where some of the trends were taking us in the plumbing industry. And there was a couple big issues, one of which was something called AB 1953 and S152. AB 1953 is a mandate out of California, which basically says that the weighted lead content in pipes, fittings, and fixtures used to convey drinking water cannot exceed 0.025% on wetted surfaces. Well, what does that mean to us? Well, that has everything to do with lead content in brass and how we deliver water through our faucets and plumbing fixtures. If you want to sell product in the California market, you better have complied with the mandates that have taken place. The same thing has happened in Vermont, and we actually border Vermont, so we think California is a long ways away, but Vermont's right next door. So it does impact us somewhat if you want to sell products into those markets. And just like what happened with 1.6 gallon per flush toilets, the folks in the industry feel that these things will trickle across the whole country and take effect throughout the whole country. As a result, we're seeing products, you're seeing manufacturers scramble around to come out with low lead brass type products in particular for faucetry. We see that a lot with Delta Faucet, and it's a common theme throughout the plumbing industry.
There's no question, Jeff, that I'm sure it's just a matter of time before New York will adapt those same standards as California and Vermont. We always seem to do that, And I guess it is a very large concern that, everybody's so aware of how, detrimental lead is to the human body. And it's something that we should really take into consideration. And and it's definitely good for industry.
222-1180, the number to call if you want to join in on the conversation. Again, that number 222-1180, dude.
Well, I was going to ask Jeff. Jeff, are the fixtures, the faucets, and all these things we talk about, are they getting more and more sophisticated? Just like what happened to automobiles. I used to be able to fix a car. I can't do it anymore. Okay, are these things getting so sophisticated now, where an average homeowner just can't go down to the hardware store and buy parts?
I would say some of them have even gotten easier. Some of them have gotten a little bit more complicated depending on what you get involved with. You probably see some commercials on TV with touch-sensitive faucets that Delta came out with, and those are actually pretty easy to install, but they require battery operation, and they have a solenoid that makes them work. There's some faucets out there now that are available on the commercial side that are called proximity faucets, which are touchless. They're hands-free. Everyone's really concerned about touching surfaces and bacteria and things like that. No one wants to touch anything anymore.
Cross-contamination.
Sure. These faucets just require that you get close to the spout of the faucet.
Wow.
And it turns it on and off. There is no sensor on it. The whole spout is a sensor. It's pretty cool.
Well, and certainly when it's a proximity like that, you're going to be saving water because you're just using water when your hands are under it to where you need it. So it's definitely a way to conserve water as well.
Sure. And the commercial side, we're seeing a lot of fixture manufacturers using half-gallon per minute aerators in faucets. You go into the thruway stop, and chances are that most of the fixtures are using half-gallon per minute aerators. And you talk about watts and dollars. Not only are we saving water, but whenever you use hot water, you have to think about how much water you're saving and how much it costs to heat that water, to deliver that water.
You know, I had another interesting statistic, guys.
Come ahead.
Installing WaterSense labeled faucet aerators, that's what we were just talking about, in your bathrooms, they just cost a few dollars, right, if on your existing faucet. But it could save you enough electricity to dry your hair every day for a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know about your hair.
Yeah, I don't need a whole lot there. But
I wear a baseball hat for a reason. I don't want you guys to see the hairline or the lack thereof.
Right. Why don't we talk a little bit about the Echo Flush? Jeff, we were talking a little bit about that, and I know that customers are, listeners are really going to be interested in learning this new technology.
Sure. Over the years, we've seen toilet technology go from 3.5 gallons per minute down to 1.6. And now you're seeing manufacturers come out with WaterSense products that are 1.28 gallons per flush, or even less.
Right.
There are a couple manufacturers that have dual flush technology in both gravity and pressure assist. One of the companies where we represent is Mansfield. They make a product called the Echo Quantum, which is a pressure assist toilet that uses a bladder tank with air and water in it. And you can lift up on the handle to deliver 1 gallon per minute, or push down on the handle to deliver 1.6 gallons per minute.
Right.
Obviously saving water and giving you a powerful flushing action for the water closet. Sure.
When you need that extra oomph. Well, I'll tell you, Pete, myself, Jeff, we've been in the industry long enough that I can certainly remember when these water-saving toilets first came on board, and the joke between all the plumbers were, where was the savings? Because years ago I can remember you'd install one and we would get called back constantly to those customers' houses because they weren't happy with the way they were flushing, and consequently you'd have to flush it 2, sometimes 3 times to get it to really get a good flush. So the technology, like Pete was saying, has come a long ways. We often joke about, we don't still drive Model A's, and the technology, has really advanced in the automobile, and it's really much the same in the plumbing industry, where, things have just evolved, and what are you laughing about?
I remember
there,
going
Pete?
into a public restroom, and there was a sign that said, "Water saving toilet, please flush twice."
Yeah.
And there were some Nixon references, but I better not go there.
222-1180 if you want to join in on the conversation. Again, that number 222-1180. Simply Green Radio brought to you by Simply Green Energy and Mr. Rooter Plumbing. In studio with Maurice Aubry, Mo, Pete Marisi, True Story Pete, and also Brenna Hartman, and our guest tonight, Jeff Lussier from Delta Faucets. He also represents some other product lines. We do need to cut away for a quick break, but we'll be back with more of Simply Green Radio here on News Radio 1180 WHAM.